Hey, this is Mark Henry, author of Dancing with Energy, Healing, Magic, and Mysticism, here to talk to you more about the occult and the paranormal. Well, today I'm going to be talking about a story of magic. It's about time. Before I begin, I wanted to mention a few announcements. As usual, um, I just added a new attunement to my Etsy store. Actually, it's not too new, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. It's St. Jude. So that is for people who are feeling desperate and need a connection, needing extra help. He is the saint of impossible causes, and he's somebody you might want to be an ally. But even greater than that, I'm really proud of an attunement that I just listed 1 or 2 days ago. It is the Angel of the Lord. And this is a special attunement. Angel of the Lord is a figure in the Old Testament which is quite mysterious. This particular attunement would be considered like a second level to some of the angel attunements that I already have. And it's quite intense. If you are not familiar with angelic energies, you might want to get one of the other ones before that, like the Holy Guardian Angel or another one that I have listed. Just because I I always test these attunements, so I attuned somebody who was a skeptic, but somebody who has, some a little bit of experience. She was skeptical of this attunement, and this attunement really was really intense for her. So she was a believer after that. So if you are interested in that, I'll put a link in the description for the higher level angelic attunement. But apart from that, let's get started with today's video. So today's video is going to be more of a story time rather than a traditional lecture like I normally do. So this is a tale about how with magic you can never exactly predict what's going to happen. For example, what is the method or the effects that the magic takes, the pathways, in order to fulfill its goal, your goal that you set it out to do. So let me start out by saying that for the last couple of months I've been having some trouble sleeping. Now, I've been getting the recommended number of hours that scientists, sleep researchers say that one should have. They say 7 to 8 hours. And I've been getting that, but I've been waking up not feeling rested, being lacking focus, and I do what a lot of traditional Americans do. What do? We drink coffee and take caffeine and just grin and bear it and go about your daily business, right? So that had been going on for quite a while, and I noticed that there was no real reason for the sleepless. I wasn't having any physical pain. My mind wasn't restless. It just, wasn't getting what I normally would get prior to that time. And that was even after taking things like melatonin and like half a Unisom and everything. So, now on a different topic, I noticed that I was not being as productive at work as I normally was. I'd find that even though I have a series of tasks that I've done thousands of times, that it was taking longer to do them. I kept feeling like I was getting interrupted, which would break my concentration. And I was getting kind of a little frustrated with things because I was getting behind, even though there was really no reason for me to get behind. So I felt like that, I was, as they say in magic, out of step with time, that my time was being stolen from me, and I would have all this work at the end of the day that I would normally get done, but there it was. So And again, there was no logical reason for this. There was nothing physical wrong with me or anything like that. No additional stressors that would cause that. It was just kind of the way that it is. And after a while, I got tired of it. So I said, okay, so would there be a magical solution to this? What could I do in order to change this situation around? So what I did was I have a large collection of books, as you all probably could have imagined, and I found a process with a sigil of creative light, that said that if you do these procedures, then you would expand the amount of time that you have available to you. So I did it for 3 days, and then shortly thereafter, I noticed some things started to change. So instead of having things kind of being at the end of the day, I started to actually things started to come together where I started to feel like I was more in alignment with time. For somehow, some way, I was getting back to performing tasks, doing them faster, and not having a whole bunch of things left at the middle of the day. I was making progress, and everything was being done, and which is good, because not only do you want to do your job, but you want to feel good that you are doing a good job. And when it all kind of fits together nicely, you're like, okay, all right, I did it. I not only earned a paycheck, but I did something valuable. So that was something good. Now, what do you imagine was the consequence of this? Maybe an indirect effect. As I mentioned it before, I started, at the same time this started happening, I started sleeping much, much better. All of a sudden, I started waking up being rejuvenated, being refreshed. I started to get up in the morning, have a lot more energy, and I would bring that to work. So I am not mad at that. It's probably something that I needed, of course. But it was something that even pharmaceuticals couldn't do for me. So how do we think about this? Well, the most logical way to think about this, in my opinion, is that this magic was set in motion. It had to reach a particular goal, a point. In order for that to happen, it was like you throwing a big rock into the pond. It creates ripples, and whatever is in that pond is the ripples are going to touch. So in order for this time to get back into alignment with me and my relationship with time, so to speak, that my sleeping had to be adjusted. And it was just an effect of the magic. And it should be no surprise to any of us, because magic when it happens, it has to, especially if you're expecting a real world event, it has to concretize itself into physical space and time and affect things, affect your physiology, affect your mind. And it did. So it did what it was supposed to do. And I'm very happy and pleased with the result. And that is basically it. That's basically what I wanted to talk about. One of the things that I do like to mention is, when you're setting things in motion with magic, you don't know how it's going to take place or what's going to be the necessarily effects, how it will take place. It'll do what it has to do. Okay, that is basically it. Again, if you want to develop a spiritual connection with an entity in order to level up your magic, improve your life, push through boundaries, barriers, then check out my Etsy store. I will put a link in the description. If you want additional videos more content, private messaging with me, and other bonuses, then I'll put a link to my Patreon at the end of the video. On that note, you guys have a good weekend and a good Memorial Day. And I will talk to you in a future video. Take care. Bye-bye.